It's the hijab. It's nothing new or surprise. It's you know the picture of Mary, how she looks like, and this is pretty much what the Muslims brought into life again.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahilladzi arsala rasulahu bil huda wa dinil haqq liyuzhirahu 'ala dini kullihi wa kafa billahi syahida. Berjumpa lagi dengan channel saya Marstechno. Saya doakan semoga semua sahabat dalam keadaan sehat selalu. Pada video kali ini adalah bagian ketujuh dari usaha dakwah seorang ustazah yang bernama Bostram. Beliau menjelaskan dasar-dasar agama Islam di sekolah Santa Ursula, Jerman. Beliau mewakili Islam untuk menjelaskan kepada para mahasiswa. Pada bagian ini, beliau ditanya mengenai kewajiban seorang muslimah memakai jilbab dan juga hak-hak seorang wanita. Bagaimana penjelasan beliau tentang pertanyaan itu? Nah, sahabat, mari kita saksikan saja video berikut ini. Dan saya akan sedikit mereaksi videonya.
And this is what God can. This is meant by, this is in the surah, in one of the latest, by not even an atom weight of a good deed will be lost. And this starts with the intention that you want to do something good. You will get even reward. And a sin is only counted one time, while a good deed is counted 10 times to make it easier in life. If you do something wrong, it is recommended after the sayings of the Prophet, do something good after it, immediately, as fast as possible, because you don't know when you die. So, again, for a non-believer, there is no problem. For him, it's no problem. For a believer, we do believe that there are Christians who are acting upon the Bible, who are believers in the sense of God. Because God says, and they are believers, Christians, and they are believers, Jews, in the minority, but they exist. So I have not the right to judge or to conclude who is a believer and who not. I'm not a God, and it's not my job. It's out of my case. So everything if you can see, it's more a selfish religion in the sense of you have to focus on yourself. Just leave the people by themselves. Because belief starts here in your heart, with yourself. Nobody can force you. There you are free in your heart. Somebody can put me under pressure to do something, but if I don't do it out of belief, for whom I'm doing it? What the heck? Or, if somebody hinders me in doing it, I had the intention. And God knows it. So, any other questions? Oh, should I go? Yes, sure.
Why God accepts that there are really terrible accidents or great poverty?
Suaranya tidak jelas
Genau.
pertanyaannya.
First of all, this is not paradise where we live in. This is the test. The test to act correctly, to act just. And here are circumstances where people are living in poverty, are living in rich people have in the sight of God very problems. Actually, because they will take into they have to give responsibility. They will be held accountable for their material which they could give to needy people. And the needy people are proven with what? With patience. And the whole thing in this word is to reflect about your own situation, why you are here. And again, it's not called paradise. This is not the word to live in a perfect way. It's here to come to the conclusion that God exists, to use your intellect. This can poor people do, rich people. Rich people have more problems with
Pikir
that.
mahasiswanya.
People who are fame has the most problem with that because they hang the most on this world. And people who they lose their balance the most. The balance between this life and next life the most. Therefore, the most of them are killing themselves with drugs and stuff in the end. The fame people like Whitney Houston. But never mind. The thing is, if you look at the poor, they show their struggle, and therefore it's said, never be harsh against the poor and needy people, because between them and God is not a wall.
Karena
Not
orang yang
a
miskin
wall.
dan Allah
If
tidak
they are praying against you,
makbul.
in the case it's accepted.
Kita disarankan
That's why Muslims are very taking care of needy people. Mostly the king of charity. Yes, here I give. Because it's a proof for ourselves. It's in Prüfung. It's a test for everyone. Yeah. In an exam, a test for everyone in a kind of way. Like someone who comes blind to earth. Like someone who has no feeling for the other gender. Opposite gender. It's a test. I have my own test. If somebody has not on his physically a test, psychology, he will have a test.
Dunia adalah ujian.
If you weigh it in the same way, it will weigh the same. So let's go to the next point. It's the hijab. It's nothing new or surprise. It's written in the old scriptures as well. If you look about the wisdoms, you can find some. Man has to cover themselves as well, from navel to the knee, in the very loose way, so that you cannot see their body parts. And it's important it's mentioned in the Quran, the woman has to cover herself except her face and her hand to be recognized as a believer. You know the picture of Mary, how she looks like? And this is pretty much what the Muslims brought into life again. They're practicing. And this is again the difference between only believing, prove your belief through actions. Yeah, women rights. Oh, this is very interesting because a lot of people love to claim that in Islam there are no women rights. That's interesting. It's not sharp enough, or? Oh, okay. You can read, right? Actually, under my limited view, I think the women's rights are even more than the man's rights, but we're different creatures, we have different needs, and therefore it doesn't make sense to say, yeah, you have the right to have the makeup and you too as a man. Yeah, so therefore it's different, we are different. So we have different rights, and the women's rights it starts with something very sweet. It's a statement of the Prophet where he says that if you get a baby girl, your family will be blessed. It's not in the case of boys, sorry, I didn't tell you that. But we were talking about it with Dora. And if you get a baby girl, your family will be blessed in some way, through peace, or your material will grow, you will have more money in that month, whatsoever. And if you even raise 3 daughters in piety, the doors of paradise as a parent, the doors of paradise will be opened for you. This is also a statement of the Prophet. A dowry. What's a dowry? You can ask for money. If somebody wants to marry you, your friend wants to marry you, you have to ask for money in a specified amount that has no limit. You can ask for $3 million. The most people ask for $30,000. Why? If you reflect upon it, that person wants to marry you, right? You want to marry each other, whatsoever. And if he's only marrying you to have sexual intercourse, if he's only marrying you to leave you afterwards, he will think 2 times before giving you the money. But if he wants to stay with you your entire life, it doesn't matter for him to give you $10,000. Why? Because the next time, and the next point will tell you that he is responsible to support you your entire life financially. The man. He has to share his money, but your money is untouchable for him. You can't take your money from a bank account, but you can use his credit card. So, no? And the opposite is not possible. Therefore, it doesn't matter for him because he thinks, I have to share my money in that way or the other way. It doesn't matter. So who cares if she gets that money? I give it because out of love. Divorce, she will get the babies. She will get the children. Nursing a baby, it's a difficult thing for a mother to nurse a baby during nighttime. She will get after a time very dizzy, after a year very depressed, because you wake up the entire night to nurse a baby. And that's why if you don't want to do it, since even if it is known that it is healthier for the children to be nursed, if you don't want to do it as a mother, and the father wants it, he has to pay you. He has to give you a loan. Or if you still don't want it because you love your sleep more, then he has either, find another person to pay her money to give to nurse the child, or there is no other way. And that's an interesting aspect as well. The position of mothers. As I told you, to obey God is on the first position. To obey the prophets is on the second position. It's the saying of the prophet. And the third position takes the mother. And the fourth position, the mother. And the fifth position, the mother. And after that, the father comes. It's a statement of the prophet, to whom you should show the most love. With love, obeying. And why? Because it's also mentioned in the Quran many times, because out of the difficulties what a mother goes through beginning with her pregnancy. And be always kindful and respectful against your mother, against your parents, especially your mother. So it is mentioned. And what kind of opinion she might have, doesn't matter. What kind of belief, doesn't matter. It is just her position, what she had as difficulties during her pregnancy and the first 2 years, which are really, really hard. I mean, I was something like an au pair. It's super, super duper hard, even as an au pair, to take care of a baby. And this is what she, that's the position of the mother. Therefore, we are very carefully in being, we try to obey our mother as much as possible, to love our mother as much as possible. Father as well, of course, but in the case of mother in special, because somehow, if she says, my sweet daughter, please take your jacket with you, it will rain and it's sunny, it will rain in the end, somehow. Something happens to me where I regret why I didn't listen to my mom. She has a good feeling. Mostly they have the right feeling for you. And the other point is are the butler rights. This is funny as well. If I, while I'm single, have a butler or maid, and somebody wants to marry me, and I go into marriage, I have a lifelong the right of asking for a butler or a maid. Why? Because it is not fair that he marries you in that standards to give you how to live afterwards. You are used to have a mate who does for you this and that. It's not fair. Either don't marry her if you don't have the money, or offer her the same standards. These are the interesting points of women.
Masya Allah, penjelasan yang sangat mudah diterima. Beliau menjelaskan tentang hukum hijab atau jilbab dalam Islam, bagaimana kedudukan ibu dalam Islam yang harus ditaati dalam urutan ketiga, 4, dan 5. Urutan pertama yang harus ditaati adalah Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, kedua Rasulnya, ketiga ibu, keempat ibu, kelima ibu, dan keenam baru ayah. Beliau juga menjelaskan bagaimana proses pernikahan yang memerlukan sesuatu disebut namanya mahar. Mahar ini adalah hak dari seorang wanita yang bisa diminta kepada laki-laki yang akan menikahinya. Dan juga beliau menjelaskan tentang sekufu atau setara itu ya. Jadi kalau wanita itu sudah terbiasa mempunyai pembantu dalam rumah tangganya dan seorang laki-laki menikahinya, alangkah lebih baiknya dia juga memberikan seorang pembantu untuk memudahkan dalam pekerjaannya. Maksudnya standar dari wanita yang sebelumnya menikah harus sama dengan, bukan harus ya, ini pemikiran dari beliau, paling tidak sama dengan standar yang saat dia belum menikah. Mungkin itu saja sedikit reaksi dari saya. Apabila Anda ingin dilanjutkan ke part ke-8, silahkan komentar di bawah. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.